The preliminary pacemaker interrogation results were released last week.
In the shadows of New Mexico's mountains lies a mystery that has Hollywood trembling. Gene Hackman's death wasn't just another celebrity passing, it was the beginning of a dark tale that would shock the world. The final curtain call. On a cold, gray morning in New Mexico, silence enveloped the rustic log cabin where Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, had made their peaceful retreat. What authorities discovered inside would spark one of Hollywood's most perplexing mysteries. The legendary actor and his beloved wife were both found deceased under circumstances that would raise more questions than answers. The news sent shockwaves through Hollywood. For 2 decades, Hackman had chosen a life away from the spotlight, trading red carpets for the serene landscapes of New Mexico. No paparazzi, no interviews, just quiet days with Betsy surrounded by nature. Industry giants like Robert Duvall, Dustin Hoffman, and Clint Eastwood publicly mourned, but beneath their grief lay an undercurrent of unease. A web of inconsistencies. The official report cited heart disease as Hackman's cause of death, claiming he had been disoriented from Alzheimer's in his final days. Betsy's death was attributed to hantavirus, a rare rodent-borne disease, but law enforcement wasn't convinced and 3 major irregularities stood out. First, Hackman's supposed mental state didn't align with local accounts. Neighbors regularly saw him driving, shopping, and even working on a book manuscript. His mind remained sharp, a stark contrast to the official narrative of a confused, helpless man. Second, the hantavirus diagnosis raised red flags. With fewer than 5 deaths in the past decade, this rare disease suddenly claiming Betsy seemed suspicious. Their well-maintained home showed no signs of rodent infestation, leaving investigators wondering about the true source of infection. The silent mystery. Perhaps most puzzling was the complete absence of emergency calls. Neither Hackman nor Betsy reached out for help. No 911 calls, no messages to neighbors, nothing. If Hackman was truly disoriented and Betsy gravely ill, why did they remain silent? Law enforcement has kept the case open, with one anonymous officer revealing to the media that multiple inconsistencies prevent them from closing the investigation. The pristine condition of their home, the timing of their deaths, and the lack of distress signals have created a tapestry of suspicion that continues to haunt investigators. As Hollywood mourns one of its greatest actors, questions linger. Was this truly a tragic coincidence, or were darker forces at play in the final chapter of Gene Hackman's life? In the shadows of New Mexico's mountains lies a mystery that has Hollywood trembling. Gene Hackman's death wasn't just another celebrity passing, it was the beginning of a dark tale that would shock the world. The Week of Silence. As investigators delve deeper into the case, the timeline following Betsy Arakawa's death on February 18th has become increasingly mysterious. For 7 days, Gene Hackman's sprawling New Mexico estate became a silent tomb, holding secrets that continue to baffle law enforcement. The question that haunts investigators: how could a 95-year-old man allegedly suffering from severe Alzheimer's survive alone for an entire week without any assistance? No emergency calls, no text messages, no distress signals. The house, standing resolute against the desolate New Mexican landscape, revealed no signs of daily activity during this critical period. The digital ghost. Perhaps most perplexing is the complete technological silence. Hackman's cell phone, found untouched on his desk, showed no outgoing calls. The landline sat dormant. In an age where communication is constant, this radio silence speaks volumes. Security footage from neighboring properties showed no movement around the house. It was as if Gene Hackman had become a ghost in his own home. The forensic evidence only deepens the mystery. The kitchen showed no signs of meal preparation. Water usage remained mysteriously low. The doors were locked from the inside, suggesting no one had entered or left. But the most chilling piece of evidence came from Hackman's pacemaker, a sophisticated device designed to monitor heart activity. Its last recorded signal coincided with Betsy's death on February 18th. After that, nothing. the canine witness. As investigators combed through the mansion, their attention was drawn to an unexpected detail: a closed closet door in the master bathroom. Behind it lay what could be the key to unraveling this Hollywood mystery. A dog, Hackman's loyal companion, would become a crucial piece in this increasingly complex puzzle. The presence of this four-legged witness raises even more questions. Why was the dog in the closet? What had it witnessed during those 7 silent days? And most importantly, what secrets might this loyal companion hold about the true nature of Gene Hackman's final days? While Hollywood mourns the loss of one of its greatest actors, law enforcement continues to piece together the evidence. The silent house, the technological void, and the mysterious canine discovery paint a picture far more complex than a simple, natural passing. As investigators dig deeper, one question remains: was Gene Hackman's death truly a peaceful departure, or does something more sinister lurk beneath the surface of this Hollywood tragedy? The haunting discovery. When investigators opened the bathroom closet door, they encountered a scene that would send chills down their spines. Inside a small cage lay Xena, one of Hackman's beloved dogs, lifeless and cold. The discovery wasn't just tragic, it was deeply suspicious. Xena hadn't succumbed to natural causes or an accident. The dog had been deliberately confined, left without food or water, in a space barely large enough to turn around. The silent witnesses. The mystery deepened when investigators turned their attention to Hackman's other 2 dogs, Bear, a large imposing breed, and Nikita, equally substantial in size. While they had survived, their behavior told a chilling story. Both animals exhibited signs of severe trauma, cowering against walls, avoiding eye contact, and trembling uncontrollably when approached by law enforcement. These weren't the actions of dogs mourning their owner, they bore the hallmarks of animals that had witnessed something terrifying. What made Xena's death particularly suspicious was its timing. Just days before the discovery, the small dog had undergone routine surgery. Betsy Arakawa, known for her passionate love of animals, had been meticulously caring for Xena's recovery. So why would a post-operative dog end up locked in a dark closet? The 7-day mystery. The timeline presents an even more perplexing puzzle. During the 7 days Hackman lived alone after Betsy's passing, someone had to have confined Xena. If Hackman was truly suffering from severe Alzheimer's, as reported, could he have executed such a deliberate act? The police found no signs of forced entry, no suspicious fingerprints, and security cameras revealed no unauthorized visitors. Yet the evidence suggests someone had to be present. Bear and Nikita's traumatized state, Xena's inexplicable confinement, and the precise timing of events point to human intervention. Was there an unknown visitor during those 7 silent days? Did someone with access to the house commit these acts? Or does the truth lie in an even darker scenario? Medical mysteries. Investigators' scrutiny of Xena's veterinary records opened another avenue of inquiry. The surgery performed just a week before the dog's death was routine with no complications noted. This fact makes the post-operative confinement even more baffling. A recovering animal should have been resting comfortably, not locked away in darkness. The behavior of Bear and Nikita continues to haunt investigators. These weren't just frightened animals, they were witnesses to something that fundamentally altered their behavior. Their terror speaks of events yet unknown, secrets still buried within the walls of Hackman's final home. As the investigation continues, one question remains paramount. Who locked Xena away, and what were they trying to hide? The phone trail. As investigators delve deeper into Gene Hackman's sprawling New Mexico estate, what was once a peaceful sanctuary transformed into a labyrinth of unanswered questions. The most compelling evidence lay in the digital footprints, or rather the suspicious lack thereof, in the couple's final days. Hackman's phone, discovered untouched in his study, told a story of eerie silence. No emergency calls, no desperate messages, no digital breadcrumbs indicating a man struggling with his deteriorating condition. If Hackman truly suffered from Alzheimer's as claimed, This technological void might seem logical, yet this absence of communication raised a more disturbing possibility. Was someone deliberately keeping him isolated? Betsy's digital ghost. The investigation took a darker turn when authorities examined Betsy Arakawa's phone. Found perfectly placed on the kitchen table as if staged for discovery, her device revealed a haunting timeline. All communication ceased abruptly after February 11th. No calls, no texts, no digital whispers of life. For a woman known among friends as a regular communicator, this sudden silence spoke volumes. The last text message from Betsy, sent to a close friend that fateful morning, now carries an ominous weight. "I'm feeling a little off today, maybe just tired. Talk later." Her friend's concerned replies went unanswered, dissolving into the digital void. If Betsy had contracted the deadly hantavirus, wouldn't there have been desperate attempts to seek help during the virus's brutal progression? The final journey. Surveillance footage from February 11th captured Betsy's last known movements. At 3:40 p.m., security cameras at a Santa Fe pharmacy recorded her final public appearance. Wrapped in a thick gray coat, she purchased an seemingly innocent combination of items: cold medicine, hand sanitizer, and a large bottle of water. These mundane purchases now serve as crucial pieces in this complex puzzle. The timing and nature of these purchases raised disturbing questions. Was Betsy already feeling the effects of something more sinister than mere fatigue? Did she suspect the gravity of her condition? Most importantly, what transpired in the hours following her return home that led to complete communication blackout? As investigators piece together these digital breadcrumbs, one thing becomes clear. The technological silence surrounding both deaths wasn't just unusual, it was unnatural. In an age where our devices chronicle our daily lives, this sudden digital death speaks of something more calculated, more deliberate than a simple, tragic accident. The digital enigma. The last known sighting of Betsy Arakawa haunts investigators like a ghostly photograph. Security cameras captured her entering a local pharmacy, her face partially hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat. Was she already feeling the symptoms of what would claim her life? Or was there something more sinister at play? The items she purchased that day tell their own story: cold medicine, tissues, and basic remedies. Nothing extraordinary, yet these mundane purchases would become her final documented actions. After leaving the pharmacy, Betsy Arakawa seemingly vanished into thin air. No calls, no messages, no digital footprints marking her existence. The technological void. The investigation took a startling turn when forensic analysts discovered an inexplicable gap in Betsy's phone records. Between February 11th and February 14th, her typically active phone fell completely silent. Then on February 15th, a mysterious 2-second call appeared in the logs, a digital whisper in the darkness that raises disturbing questions. Who made that call? Why was it cut off so abruptly? More importantly, was Betsy still alive when it occurred? The timing of this anomaly has led investigators to suspect potential tampering. If someone manipulated her phone records, what were they trying to hide? The locked room mystery. The mudroom where Gene Hackman's body was discovered presents its own set of baffling contradictions. Everything about the scene seemed meticulously arranged, almost too perfect. His sunglasses lay undamaged beside him, his walking stick positioned with unnatural precision. For a man who allegedly collapsed suddenly, the scene lacked the chaos typically associated with such events. The locked doors and windows, all secured from the inside, create a classic locked room mystery. Security footage shows no visitors during that fateful week, yet the evidence suggests an unseen presence. No signs of struggle, no desperate attempts to reach help, no indication that Hackman tried to save himself. The silent witnesses. Perhaps most telling is what's missing from this scene. In cases of sudden collapse, victims typically show signs of attempting to break their fall. Scuff marks on the floor, displaced furniture, or desperate reaches for support. Here, there was nothing. The pristine condition of the mudroom suggests either an instantaneous event or something far more calculated. The neighbors, though not immediately adjacent, were close enough to hear any calls for help. Yet during that entire week, not a sound emerged from the Hackman residence. No cries for assistance, no attempts to signal distress. It was as if the house itself had been sealed in a bubble of silence, holding its secrets tight within its walls. The mounting evidence points to a disturbing possibility. Gene Hackman's death may be just one piece of a larger, more sinister puzzle. As investigators continue to unravel these mysteries, one question looms larger than all others. What really happened in those final silent days? The surveillance mystery. The investigation took a chilling turn when police discovered disturbing anomalies in the security footage around Hackman's residence. A crucial gap in the surveillance data on February 18th, the same day Hackman's pacemaker transmitted its final signal, raised alarming questions. Could someone have visited during this blackout period? More disturbingly, was this gap intentional? Even more perplexing was the complete absence of movement captured between February 18th and February 26th. The cameras, typically vigilant in recording every passing shadow, showed no signs of life within the house. This technological void presents investigators with a haunting possibility. Did Gene Hackman truly lie undiscovered for over a week? Or did someone methodically erase evidence of activity during this period? The scene's peculiarities. The discovery scene itself presents a web of contradictions that continue to perplex investigators. Hackman was found wearing sunglasses indoors, an unusual detail that raises questions about his intended activities that day. Was he preparing to venture outside, or was he meeting someone? His walking stick, a constant companion in his later years, tells its own mysterious story. Found perfectly positioned beside him, it defied the natural chaos of a sudden fall. In cases of collapse, such aids typically scatter chaotically, yet Hackman's stick appeared deliberately placed, as if carefully arranged in a staged scene. The canine evidence. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from an unexpected source: the family's dogs. The discovery of Zena's body in a locked bathroom closet presents a particularly disturbing element. Dogs, known for their protective instincts and acute awareness of danger, typically react vocally to unusual situations. Yet Zena was found confined in an unnatural location, raising questions about who trapped her there and why. The surviving dogs, Bear and Nikita, exhibit signs of severe psychological trauma. Their behavior, marked by extreme timidity and stress, suggests they witnessed something deeply disturbing. These faithful companions, once confident and playful, now cower in corners and refuse to approach strangers, their changed demeanor a silent testimony to unknown horrors. The final communications. The recovery of Betsy's phone data has opened new avenues of investigation. Her last documented appearance at a pharmacy on February 11th marks the beginning of an inexplicable silence. No calls, no messages, no digital footprints remain from her final days. This complete communication blackout extends to Hackman's phone as well. 7 days of silence that defy explanation for a man who, despite his reported condition, maintained regular contact with the outside world. As investigators continue to piece together this complex puzzle, each answer seems to spawn more questions. The evidence suggests a carefully orchestrated series of events rather than a simple, tragic accident, leaving authorities to wonder what sinister truth lies behind the deaths of Gene Hackman and his wife. The unanswered questions. If Gene Hackman truly spent his final days alone and disoriented, why didn't he reach out for help? The question haunts investigators as they examine the peculiar circumstances surrounding his death. For a man with alleged late-stage Alzheimer's, surviving alone for 7 days defies logical explanation. Even more puzzling is the complete absence of any attempt to contact emergency services, family, or neighbors. The medical mystery. Betsy's death presents its own set of baffling contradictions. The official cause, hantavirus, remains a statistical anomaly in itself. With fewer than a dozen cases reported annually in New Mexico, this rare rodent-borne disease somehow found its way into a meticulously maintained mansion. Medical experts consulted by investigators have noted the extraordinary nature of this diagnosis, particularly given the absence of any rodent infestation evidence in the property. The security puzzle. The security system's mysterious gap on February 18th represents a crucial piece of this complex puzzle. While there were no signs of forced entry, this technological blackout opens the possibility of an undetected visitor. Forensic analysts are still examining the surveillance equipment for signs of tampering, raising the disturbing possibility that someone deliberately created this blind spot. The final analysis. As investigators continue to analyze the evidence, several critical elements remain unexplained. Zena's mysterious death in a locked closet, while the other dogs survived but showed signs of severe trauma, suggests a deliberate act rather than negligence. The pending forensic reports on Zena's remains could provide crucial insights into the timeline of events. The ongoing investigation has left the case deliberately open. Investigators continue to decrypt data from Betsy's phone, analyze security footage, and piece together the final days of one of Hollywood's most legendary actors. The abundance of irregularities suggests this case may be far more complex than initially reported. As the sun sets over the New Mexican mountains, Gene Hackman's final mystery remains unsolved. Was it truly a tragic accident, or does something more sinister lurk beneath the surface? Perhaps some secrets are meant to stay buried in the shadows of Hollywood history.